Hi guys, it's me, Noel, and today I am coming to you with a book review. Now I know this is something different than I usually do on my channel, but like I told you in my previous video, I went back to school and I'm taking 4 English classes, so we have been reading a lot of books. So far we've read 5 books and I've written numerous papers so far. So anyway, I have 2 novels that I thought were interesting enough to share with you guys. And as a writer, I'm always looking for books that are different, something that will make me think, especially books that are successful, because I'm always curious to know, like, okay, what was in this book that was just so, great that, it was a success or a hit. So I want to read it because maybe I can, get some inspiration or, look at their style of writing and, just get inspired. Anyhow, I'm just going to get right into the book review. The first book that I read was called Under the Feet of Jesus. I have that book here. I'll make sure that I insert a book cover because I did buy this from the bookstore. As you can see, the U sticker on it, So here it is. And this book was written by Helena Maria Viramontes. And she is a child of migrant farm workers. And in the book, on the first page it says in memory of Cesar Chavez. So with that being said, this book is basically about Mexican migrant farm workers and how they are exploited, and this is from a child of a farm worker's point of view, and how they work on farms, how they don't get paid much. And the main character was Petra, and she had these 5 children, and her husband up and left and went to Mexico. So we always see, like, there's just, the stereotype of Hispanic women with having a lot of children, and she portrayed that in this book here. And you always see, like, older Spanish men with younger women. And throughout the novel, after the father left, her husband left, she ended up dating this guy called Perfecto Flores, who was 33 years her senior. He was very much older than she was. And basically he was helping her out with the kids, along with her older daughter Estrella, who had to grow up really fast. She was only 12 years old when she was working on these farms, doing all this hard labor and work. And basically they would move from town to town, wherever that they could get work, because that was the only way that they could survive. And most of these people were undocumented workers, so you can't just go like anywhere else and get a job. It was like a struggle. So they either work for pennies to survive, or they just would have to get deported if they were caught or starved. So this was like really insightful. It was very like much of historical fiction in my eyes. My grandmother was also a migrant farm worker, and she's black, and she was moving from the Carolinas to Virginia back and forth for her father and all of her siblings. And as a child, my grandmother mentioned that she never went to school because she had to work on a farm. And she's like, oh, I'll get paid 50 cents at the end of the week. I would go out in the town. Girl, like, it was like life was great. I guess because she didn't know any better. Like, she just figured that, everything was great. So when I read this book, I automatically thought about my grandmother who passed away, and all the stories she would tell me about her childhood and all the things she had to go through. When her mother died young, so her father had to raise her, and it was very similar. So it brought light to undocumented farm workers and the things that they go through. And in the book, the main character was always, afraid of La Migra, which is slang for immigration. And she mentioned that her children had her papers, meaning like they were basically American born, but she never spoke about herself being American born. Also, it talked about like the differences in the novel, like they work on these farms, and then they would go across the street to the store, the market, where they picked all these fresh fruits. And the market that was closest to where she lived, it was like they got the pick of like all the bad fruit, the bruised, vegetables, and I don't know. It was just like, like back in the day, I'm 32 years old. So back in the day, like by the time a banana got to the hood, it was brown. I'm just going to keep it real. And now, like as I grew up, it's like yellow. Like bananas are yellow, but in certain neighborhoods, they don't get the best pick of the crops. So that's that. And the second book is the Tortilla curtain, or however you want to pronounce it. And this one is by T.C. Boyle, who is German. And how I knew that, because as I was reading the book, I saw two German words. One was schlepp and one was spiel. So I was like, hold up, let me Google this author. And so this book is written from his point of view, a white person's point of view. He mentions other races and throughout his novel, but the novel was basically around Mexican illegal immigrants, Candido in America. And America is so ironic for a Mexican immigrant. And also, there was a couple, Helena and Cairo, who were, white Anglo-Saxon, well-to-do white people. She was in real estate, lived in their lily white neighborhoods, and everything was great for them. But these illegal immigrants, Candido and America, they came here, crossed the border. They use what they call coyotes. These are people that get you from the Mexican border to the U.S. border. They charge you a fee, and sometimes you get robbed, like they did. So it was very dangerous as well. They got here. He was much older than America. She was about 17. He was about 33. She's pregnant. They're camping out in the canyon. Topanga Creek Canyon in California. No, just outside, but basically camping out, living to survive. And they were like going to like a place where like they stood, like a lot of Mexican immigrants stood to look for work. And each day they would get paid like $25 a day, $30 a day. And this is how they were surviving, saving up pennies and pennies in order to be able to afford their own place. And throughout this book, I'm telling you, Candido in America has so many series of unfortunate events. Every time they got close to earning enough money for an apartment, they were robbed. Something was happening. Candido was hit by Delaney. It was a mess, a hot mess and a half. So throughout the novel, America is pregnant, and she basically has this child outdoors. She doesn't go to the clinic, or she doesn't get any medical attention because she... Hi. Sorry about that. I'm back. Anyway, throughout the novel, America is pregnant. She doesn't get any medical treatment because she's an illegal immigrant. She can't just go to the doctor. She can't apply for American benefits because she's an illegal alien. And this also gave rise to the Proposition 187 law in Southern California. It was adopted in 1984, which states that if you are an illegal alien and you were not born in this country, or you are not a citizen, you are not eligible for social services. Your children cannot attend public schools. They can't get medical help. They can't get housing. They can't apply for anything. So throughout the novel, and this law also protects American citizens against illegal immigrants as well. So throughout the novel, she is raped by this man, and he gave her, I want to say, syphilis. And when she has this baby, her baby, Socorro, she realizes that her baby is blind. The baby cannot see. Because all while she was pregnant, she's complaining that her pee is burning. And she has this baby who is blind, and she can't even take her baby to the hospital. Anyhow, towards the end of the novel, they end up in this mudslide, and they basically slide all onto the river, and she basically loses the baby, and the baby drowns. It's just a sad, sad ending. But it just brings light to, Mexicans, illegal Mexicans, and how they have to survive. Illegal aliens, period, how they have to survive in this country. I remember when I was in high school, in the late 90s, my town was becoming, more Mexican, more illegal. There was Mexicans everywhere, I lied to you not. And on my street, there were only 2 black families, me and the lady lived next door to me. And probably towards the bottom of the block, there was probably a couple more black families, but everybody was Mexican. And it was weird because they would live on our block, and sometimes you would see their door open and there would be a million Mexicans in the apartment, but they were quiet. They didn't cause any trouble or drama. They kept to themselves. They kept out of sight. And it's when you're a kid, you don't even realize wow, there's a whole group of people on your block, but they're just in their own world. And it's so funny because throughout the book they spoke, the author spoke about Mexicans drinking a lot. And there was a bar at the end of my block called Adam's Bar, I believe. And on recycle night, the Mexicans would have more Heineken and Corona bottles than the bar. And me and my grandma would laugh every time we would see that. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many beer bottles over here, but like hardly any at the bar. So that was something interesting. And in my neighborhood, there was like a place, Scotland Road, Lincoln Avenue, and Central Avenue. They would stand out there in droves waiting for work. And as a kid, you don't realize that they're surviving. That's how they have to survive. And they still do that to this day, but there's not as many as there were in the late 90s. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go drive by with my camera, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Hey guys, this is a quick video of some day labor workers. I can't say for sure if they are all Mexican, but they are all of Hispanic descent. And this is just my quick video of me trying to catch them look for work or get work.
And it just brings light, because as a black person, we often feel like we are oppressed in this country, and which we are. But there's so many other minority groups in this country that they face the same things that black people face: discrimination, people pointing at them, them feeling like they aren't, welcome or good enough, them not being able to get the opportunities that a white person, may have. I just thought that was interesting. So if you're interested in, learning about like the plight of Mexican immigrants and the things that they have to go through to survive in this country, that's an excellent read, the Tortilla Curtain. And in the book, like, they were basically eating out of the garbage cans. The Candido had to he even killed a cat, and like they had to eat it. That was the only way that they could survive. And at the end of the novel, in California, they're known for big, huge forest fires. They had a forest fire and they just made it out of the forest, out of the canyon. And also, and then how like in the novel there was a housing community called Blanco. It means like White Stream or something like that. Arroyo Blanco Estates, White Stream Estates. And in their neighborhood, they built a gate around the neighborhood to keep the coyotes out, which was code word. If you read the novel, they had like code words for Mexicans, and coyote was one of them. And the coyotes were basically the walls was to keep the criminals out, which were considered the Mexicans. Everything that happened, oh, the Mexicans did it, oh, it's because of the Mexicans. We have our healthcare expenses are going up because of Mexicans. We got spray paint on the wall because of Mexicans. Everything is the Mexicans' problem, the Mexicans' fault. So anyway, it was ironic how in this community there was a guy named Dominic Flood, who committed a white collar crime, and he was wearing an ankle bracelet, and he got to live in his nice, beautiful house in Arroyo Blanco Estates. That's not so bad of a punishment. I'm a house tourist and I get to be in this beautiful community and have company and, be great. Meanwhile, the wall is built to, keep out other races, other minority groups, but they have their own criminals within. But as long as you were white, I guess, it wasn't as bad. But if you were of another minority group, it was bad. So it just basically gives you like a breakdown of the racial structure in this country called the United States of America, and how white people see other races. And it also brings light to the struggle of illegal immigrants in this country. So if you're interested, I was like extremely interested when I read the book. It kept my attention, and it was just something totally different than your average urban novel or romance novel or whatever genre you like to read. So that's my book review, and if you like this review, thumbs me up. And I have lots of more book reviews that I can do because I'm just such an avid reader. And I actually bought about 5 books so that I could read over the summertime, as well as work on my personal independent book projects as well. So those things are going well. If you're interested, and if you're here at the end of this video with me, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.